What's going on, Knicks fans? This is Sheer from the Sheer Brilliance podcast. Want to welcome you back. It is draft day, baby. It is draft day. Let's go. Let's get it. So, it is the day. It is this day that we've been waiting for. We're ready for it, Knicks fans. Stand up. We are in the house and we are ready to make this thing a reality. So, Leon Rose, signature move time. On one of my videos that I put out recently, I talked about the need for the signature move. And we are here for it. It's that time. It's signature move time. And what I mean by that is, what can you pull off that'll definitely get us excited about the quality of the basketball we're going to be watching for the next 10 years? Will that move be done today? Will it be to position ourselves to be able to get the point guard that we need for the future, whether it's in a trade or if we can sign outright? Or is it going to be that player that we draft, such as a Jaden Ivey, who's going to help us take it to the next level and we're able to trade up and secure that player for tonight? What is the signature move, Leon? What are we doing, brother? So, want to welcome you all. First and foremost, before I get into this video, please do me a favor, like and subscribe this video, share with your friends. But more importantly, I just want to thank you guys who've already subscribed. I'm up to about 60, which is good for me. I'm building it slowly. But I want to thank you all for rocking with me. I'm working my way through it. I'm getting a little bit better and better all the time. Everyone has to start somewhere. And I thank you guys for starting with me. So I'm going to continue to try to give you guys quality content. I'm going to continue to try to just be myself. I think that's what makes content creators unique, is when they bring who they are to the table. I'm an educator. As you can see, I have Purdue University on my chest. No longer there, but I'm looking to move closer to New York. But I'm passionate about my Knicks. So I'm here to ride with you. Other Knicks fans, all Knicks fans are so diverse. So diverse. We come from all qualities, all walks of life. But one thing that we all share is our passion for Knicks fans. It's our passion for our Knicks squad, our team. So continue to be passionate as we will, not listen to the haters. And that brings me up to point number one, right? The haters. So yesterday I was happening to look at Twitter. I'll open it up because, I'm excited. I want to see if any moves are being made, any trades are being discussed. I'm excited about that stuff. And I saw that the Knicks were trending. And I'm like, what? Okay, what are we trending for? Are we making a move? Is there discussion around something that's imminent? What's going on? But then it happened to be one of the first things that we're trending about is Ryan Clark from Pivot Podcast. He tweeted out, who's the most delusional fan base in sports? And Torrey Smith, who is a phenomenal wide receiver. Props to anybody who plays at a high level. Nothing against that man. That man is obviously a success in his field. But he's going to say Cowboys fans and Knicks fans. Why don't you keep our name out your mouth? That's all I'm saying. Yo, look, that's how I understand it. Now being a content creator, it's easy to get views when you have salacious headlines. It's easy to get views when you have a hot take. We are in the Stephen A. Smith era, where you have to have a hot take, or you got to be yelling, or you got to be all over the place in order to get eyes on you. And that is a shot at Stephen A. Smith, but he's a master at this point. He is a powerful man in sports media. So can't knock him for that. And he's from Queens. So can't knock him from that as well, for that as well. But it's the world that we're living in. Just keep our names out your mouths, bruh. We ain't bothering nobody. But you know what it is. It goes back to the Knicks ain't cool, right? It goes back to that. KD, everybody, if you need to have an excuse about something that you're not doing, you have to bring in the Knicks in some way. But this is a day where we're not going to let anybody dim our shine. We're not going to apologize for who we are and how we are. We're Knicks fans first and foremost. And if you're a Knicks fan, 9 times out of 10, you have some type of connection with New York. And our passion, this is just who we are, applied to our team. And that's what they don't like. I think there's a lot of people who are not from New York who have this anti-New York bias. You guys are always aggressive. You guys are always on the move. It's too busy. It's so much going on. Or it's violence out there. Everything moves too fast. That is what I've been hearing living in the Midwest the last 6 years. That is what I've been hearing living in the Midwest, but traveling locally to a Chicago, traveling to a Wisconsin, traveling to a Louisville, traveling to a Detroit, even Washington, D.C. I'm hearing like those are the basic characteristics that they have in mind in terms of New Yorkers. And it applies to their perspective on our teams. Because these same people are from different areas, but they're on the media now. And they're putting that same approach in a way that they can take digs at New York is to target the New York Knicks fan base. Come on, man. I'm not overthinking it. I know exactly what it is because I hear it all the time here. So I tell you all my Knicks brethren, Knicks Nation brethren, don't be deterred. Don't let these cats try to steal our joy watching, our squad continue to build up our team. Because win or lose, if we get Jaden Ivey or not, we still have we still have a bright future. We already have young players in place. And if we got to roll with quick, we'll roll with quick and figure it out. But what they're waiting for is they see the hype. They see that we're all over YouTube content, Twitter, Knicks Twitter. We at players. We are the most vocal fan base. We are. We're the most knowledgeable fan base. We are. We're the most loyal fan base. Challenge me on it. We are. So what they want most is to be able to shut us up. I bet any Knicks party, shout out to content creators, Knicks Fans TV, Legion of Knicks, any other platform. If you guys have a watch party, I guarantee you there's going to be media that's trying to be wherever it is. They're going to know where the watch party is and they're going to have media coverage because they're waiting for the disappointment moment. They're waiting for the shutdown moment. That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for the little kid. Somebody's going to reach out to the kid and get him tickets. That little kid that always has the crying face, the boo face. He ain't a little kid no more probably. He probably like 18 right now. They're gonna pay for him to get tickets. And they're going to follow him and his father and see who do you want to draft. Oh, you want Ivy? And when we don't get him, they're going to zoom in on his face. Part of what's going to make their shows pop tomorrow or Monday, because it's not really going to be shows tomorrow, on Monday, is if the Knicks fans feel as if they got to win tonight. If the Knicks fans feel satisfied with how the day has gone for them. That's what's going to make or break their show. Because if the Knicks fans feel like we winning, it's going to be a fleeting story. If the Knicks fans feel like, damn, us again, we just can't get out of our own way, it's going to be all over the sports media. So, New York Knicks fans, enjoy this day. I don't care if they say we celebrating like we won a championship. Shaq, Barkley, all of them. Stephen A. Smith. Don't even listen to Stephen A. Smith anymore. Any of those cats, all of them, if they feel as if, oh, we're overreacting, yeah, that's what we do. We overreact. That's what we do. I'm just excited because we've built this thing and we're continuing to build this thing. And we have to give our shout outs and our props to Steve Mills because it started there. I would love to give the props to Donnie Walsh because he tried to do the right thing until it was torn down. But Steve Mills trading Chris Stapps and acquiring assets and draft picks, future draft picks, keeping our own draft picks, that conversation, that narrative started while he was here, right before he was on his way out. And I'm proud that the front office, the organization, has committed to keeping it that way and have verbalized we're going to keep it that way until we're in a position where we see something that we like. We see a player that we like, whether it's a disgruntled superstar or an ability or an opportunity to trade for something or to move up. We have the assets in the bank. It's always been terrible when stars have come free or been in that position and the New York Knicks could not be players. The worst feeling in the world. We're not there now. We're in a better position. So I love that. Leon Rose, what he brings to the table is his connection with players. Not only his relationships with players, but the fact that he represented players at the highest levels. And he knows what they're looking for. He knows the sales pitches. He knows the best sales pitches that teams have put forth for free agents because he's walked through the doors with those players to be recruited. So now we don't have to worry about or wonder what type of sales pitch do we throw at a player who we really want to sign with the squad. We have somebody who's been on the other side of those doors, who knows what players buy into. That's the value of a Leon Rose. Let me tell you the value of a Tibbs. Say what you want about Tibbs, and y'all know I'm a fan of Tibbs. I'll hold them accountable as well, but at the same time, y'all know that I'm riding with Tibbs until his contract is out. Why? Because he has a New York bloodline. I know that I'm probably attached to him more because of his connection to the 90s Knicks. I know that. I know that. But it's his bloodline to New York. Where we went awry was the decision by LeBron James. That's where we needed to wake up at. That's where I woke up at, right? Because prior to LeBron James making that decision to go to Miami, he could do no wrong. He literally was the chosen one. For the 7 years leading up, he did nothing wrong but carry the banner of the NBA in a way that nobody did since Michael. Always gave the right answer. Always played at a high level. Really was just exceeding the expectations beyond belief. And the one decision that he did wrong was he decided to have that announcement show. And he decided to have that in the Westchester area within 10 to 20 miles of the New York Knicks practice facility. Now, I don't know who was advising you on that, but whoever it was had no idea the level of public relations impact that it would have on his likability moving forward. Two things happened. You wouldn't have it in Cleveland because you knew that fan base would burn that mother flipper down. So you decided to try to have it in New York because you know to get eyes on your decision. It would be it would lead people to believe that you were going to choose New York as your destination. And you thought that you could make it all better by giving some money to the Boys and Girls Club. Sorry for what we did. We made this a show. Well, if you wanted that type of moment, you should have gone to college. That's what you were trying to recreate. But instead, what you did was you created this villain moment where people weren't cheering for you. Now they were cheering against you. Because basically that was the most egotistical thing you could have done. But the lesson learned on that day by myself as a Knicks fan was that Playing in New York isn't attractive to the young cats coming up anymore the way it used to be. And this is why. Because the internet is more vast now. The internet is more accessible now. All right? What used to be the case is that New York was the mecca for everything that was fresh, everything that was popping, everything that was popular. All right? And everybody didn't have access to it like they had now. So you had to hear about it through word of mouth, or you had to see it through the main channels of television. But now every little kid has access to a cell phone, and they have access to the internet. So they have access to these stars and this lifestyle and this culture and everything that's current and popping. They have access to it on the phone, so they can recreate it where they are. So that desire to be in the mix or to be able to make it in the busiest, most popular place in the nation, that desire is there no longer. All right? So now you have the stars who grew up in places like Seattle and Detroit and Los Angeles and even Cleveland. They don't have the desire. They can still, they don't have the desire and to play in the market they don't have the desire to play in a market like New York. Even more so, they may be intimidated to play in New York with the fans or to live there because they're accustomed to coming from wherever they're coming from. So when that decision was made by LeBron, I said to myself, we have to start getting back to developing players who come out of New York and trying to get those players. So that's why it's important for players like R.J. Barrett. That's why it's important for players like Obi Toppin. When they're drafted, when you see the emotional, visceral, physical responses they have to being able to play for the New York Knicks, that's love. That's what we want. We want players who are proud of this organization, proud of the opportunity that they have to be able to turn this around. Man, Obi sat there crying, man. Bro, every one of us felt it. We was just like, yo, he wants to be here. When RJ broke down, when he saw his dad in that moment, man, and you saw the cap when he was like 11 and he was wearing the Knicks hat, we was just like, yo, that's what we want. Because there was a period of time where all of these stars who are now grown up and they're dominating the league and they're coming from other places, they're coming with their New York bias. That's why KD can relax comfortably be like, oh, you know what? Playing at Madison Square Garden, that Knicks ain't cool. So you gotta be cool. They follow what's cool. When you're from New York, we set the trend for what's cool. So you expect that from someone who's not from New York. Someone from New York knows those players like Obi, I want to play there. Or even a player like Jaden Ivey where he said, you know what, I could see myself playing there. They got DNA of winning. It's the vibe. So when he also mentioned, unprompted in his interview, the fact that 2 years ago, they were 2 years removed from the playoffs, like all eyes in the world were watching us on that day. And that's how we changed the narrative. First and foremost, we started to get players who wanted to play here. And I love the fact that Steve Mills started saying that once KP left. That's why KP still gets no love. And if you watch any interviews with KP, he feels a way about that. Right now, he don't got no home. He's in Washington. But as a player who's been in the league as long as he has already, you want to be able to say, yo, that's where I started, especially the team that drafted you. You at least want to get love from the team that drafted you. And he don't got that. So he don't really have a home. He don't. And it bothers him. So he'll start saying that. He's just like, oh, the way I left, but it's whatever. You know what it is. The way he left and what he said on the way out the door, you went there and you demanded a trade. But I love, once that happened, what Steve Mills said. He said, you know what? No more going after players who don't want to be here. We want players who want to be here. We want players who want to put on the orange and blue and represent for Madison Square Garden. We only want players who want to be here. And I love that message. I love that message was started from the top, because it has to start from the top. And then you get a coach who embodies that. Now, I know Tibbs get a bad rap, rotations, all of that. He's going to hopefully work that out. Play our youth. But the fact that Tibbs has a bloodline of being from New York, that's what I love. He's that bloodline. He's that thread from what we used to have. He's seeing what New York was when it was popping. And we were winning considerably, consistently, sustainably. I would love for Tibbs to get a championship. We're all in this together. You know, he don't want to lose. I think sometimes we see what you see what it is. Organizationally, there are some people who shouldn't have to jump the line if your talent doesn't astronomically require for you to jump the line. All right? There's other people that are around, I understand that. That's why you got to take his toys away. So hopefully this summer, what this summer will bring is the fact that we will be able to send some of these veterans that have been phenomenal for us. They've really held the flag well for the New York Knicks. Alec Burks, all of them. Julius, all of them. But if you can get them to a place where they're in a better position and the teams that get them are in a better position, let's do that. Give this youth an opportunity to run. Get him an opportunity to run. But take Tibbs' veteran toys away so that he's forced to play some of these young bucks, because it'll be at the same trajectory as some of these young teams that are coming up and playing their young cats and letting their young cats push them. We need to do the same thing. But bringing in a coach that has a New York bloodline and toughness and discipline and not afraid to hold the players accountable, that's Tibbs. Now, some of us may say, you know, that's not always Tibbs, because look at what he let Julius get away with. I'll say this to that. When Julius was slapping at the computer, slapping at, putting the thumbs down to Knicks fans and all of that, that wasn't an easy solution. That wasn't an easy fix. We wanted him to come out and maybe dock some minutes from Julius and get a ball to Art. Ultimately, that happened. But they had to be careful about how they handled Julius's situation, because the media was waiting to see how we handled that situation. There were other players who were around the league who were considering coming to New York, looking to see how does New York deal with players when they're going through the pressures of being in the New York spotlight. Maybe I want to play in Madison Square Garden one day. But what happens when things don't always go well? Will I be supported by the head coach? Will I be supported by the organization? Even when the fans are getting on me, who is going to be there to help support me through this and help me adjust to what it is to be a New York Knicks player? So they had to be careful about how they handled Julius. Tibbs had to be careful because Tibbs is already one of those people who are perceived as, oh, I'm a hard ass. I'm not going to be able to, play for a coach like Tibbs. So it was tough to see, but hopefully they had in their mind, he's not going to, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. We have to address it to the best of our ability, but we also need to know that all eyes are on New York. Whether it's how the organization treats you, how the front office treats you, how the coaching staff treats you, how the players treat you, how the fans treat you. All eyes are on New York if you are a player considering playing in that biggest market. All right? So I love the fact that our young players over the last 2 or 3 years have gotten respect from the league in certain moments. I know that other players who are in college, they recognize that. And say what you will, and they always quick to kind of talk about Knicks fans. We know what we are. We know what we do. We know what we mean to our squad. We know what it is that we do. We travel and we support in terms of what we mean to our squad. We're vocal. We're loyal. We're passionate. And that's just being from New York. That's just being a New Yorker. And I got truth for you. When they sit back and they criticize that, that's what they're criticizing. Ain't got nothing to do really about us being fans. It's the fact that they can point out and criticize New Yorkers under the guise of Knicks fans. Oh, Knicks fans are delusional. No, we're passionate. We're loyal. We love our squad. We're going to be there whether they're winning, losing, or drawing. Because if we weren't, what would we be? We'd be Miami Heat fans. We'd be Atlanta fans. That's what we would be. I said it. So, Knick Nation, enjoy today. Hop on Twitter, talk your sh. Talk your sh. Hop on Twitter and do that. Because they're going to kick us while we're down regardless. If we stay quiet, they're going to kick us. If we're loud, they're going to kick us. So why not just be you? Because we're going to be us. All right? And they don't want us to be up. I've been telling them that. That's why we all loved 2 years ago when we made that run. Because they ain't going to like us when we're up. We're going to be obnoxious as hell. We're absolutely going to be obnoxious as hell and unapologetic about it too. Unapologetic about it too. That's what we're going to be. We're going to travel to other arenas. When we travel into other arenas or we spilling out into the streets and celebrating, what we do know is we set the trends. Laughing at KD talking about Knicks ain't cool. Listen, we set the trends for what everybody does. When we were celebrating our squad, interviews on the street, spilling out into the street, stopping traffic, what did the Timberwolves do after their win and made it into the playoffs? When the intense rivalry and coming to New York between Atlanta and Trey, shout out to Trey, shout out to Atlanta. When they came into Madison Square Garden and it got intense, never condone spitting on any players. That's the most disrespectful thing you can do. And that dude was not a Knicks fan. Because he knew he would be painting, Knicks fans in the utmost, most negative of light. So that's not a Knicks fan that would do that. But fuck Trey Young? Yeah, that's a Knicks fan. That's a Knicks fan. That's us. That's us. And now you go to other arenas and you see fans doing that to players. Come on, man. You talk about us, but you want to be us. So stop the cap. Stop the cap. But we're going to enjoy this because whatever moves that we make tonight is really going to be imperative or indicative of how we move for the next 10 years. So hopefully we can get the player that we want. I want Jaden Ivey. You see where I work. I've seen this man play. I've had a short, very brief conversation with him. Humble kid. Love watching that video. That video taught me more about him than I knew, even being here as an employee and just watching him set this campus on fire. I love the stock that he comes from in terms of his mom, his goals, his attitude, his swagger. All of that is New York, man. It'll be a waste. It'll be a waste for him to go anywhere else. I don't want to specify a market, but it will be a waste for him to go anywhere else. Put him next to R.J. Barrett and Obi Toppin. His athleticism, his desire, his conversation, his talk sounds a little Kobe-ish, where at such a young age you already see yourself at the end and what you have accomplished, given that you stay healthy and things go right for you. I love it. I love it. The shine is just glistening on Madison Square Garden once again. And for him to be a player who says, I see myself playing next to an R.J. Barrett like that, it gets no better. So Let's enjoy this ride. Main purpose of my message for today's video. Don't let nobody steal your joy. Love this day. We rock for our squad so hard. Good or bad. We don't hide when we lose. You know, we face the smoke and we invite the smoke. And that is a full-time job. So you work hard for this day to be able to rep your squad. Rep your squad. Don't let nobody steal your joy. Let ESPN or these commentators steal your joy. We're going to rock. If nothing else, we got each other. Knicks Twitter. Knicks on YouTube. We absorb and we consume our own content. And we taking our narrative back. So remember this. We here and we got next. Thank you for rocking with me. My channel is really making some strides. I got about 60 subscribers. If you're watching this video, just thank you for subscribing, helping me build this thing from the ground up. I'm going to do my best to make sure I continue to put out quality content for you guys to stay on track and to show the love for our team, man. I support every other content creator. Continue to support them as well. We're going to build this thing. We're going to build this thing big. Same thing applies to life as applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. And look out for me. But thank you. Subscribe, like, share this video, and reach out to me. Vibe with me, whether it's on Knicks Twitter or on here as well. I'm going to do my best to make sure I get back to you, and maybe we can do some content together one day. All right? Have a great day, and let's go Knicks.